ECE Streams General Ability question paper, the questions that came in GATE 2023 that just concluded I should say a few weeks ago. So this is the first question. Take around 15 to 20 seconds just to solve it, and then I will be telling you why and what. I cannot support this proposal. My conscience will not permit it. Obviously, consensus is a different matter. Consent is entirely a different meaning. Now, the spelling of conscience is of prime importance. We must understand that this is not the correct spelling of conscience. The correct spelling of conscience is this, and so that would be the correct answer. Conscience with a C-O-N-S-C-I-E-N-C-E. Let's move on to the next. This was the second question. They have said courts is to what? Is analogous to this sign when you face, it means analogous to. It means analogous to. So courts, there should have been a gap here that got missed. No issue on that. Courts is to that is analogous to parliament is to legislature, and the examiner has asked you that fill up the blank by considering the meanings of the words. So put in your own judgment, and then we will do the. Okay. Now in a parliament, what is done? In a parliament, legislature is carried on. Okay. Parliament means laws, rules, etc. are executed and made. That is called legislature. Now what happens in a court then? In a court, the judiciary performs. What is judiciary? Judiciary means the laws and rules and regulations pertaining to legal cases. So the courts is to judiciary will be analogous to parliament is to legislature. And you are going to pick this option. Right? Next, this is a very simple common mathematics question. What is the smallest number with distinct digits whose digits add up to 45? Quickly go ahead, give it a try. Okay. Now for this sum, the first point that should come to the student's mind is that they have said a smallest number with distinct digits and whose digits add up to 45. So they must be distinct and they should add up to 45. Yet they have asked the smallest number. So see, I must be knowing that the summation of all digits from 1 to 9 is given by the relation 9 into n plus 1, that is 9 into 10 by 2, that is 45. So immediately it must capture my mind that the examiner has meant all the digits from 1 to 9. Okay, because their summation is 45, so the digits are within my grip. Now I will have to make the smallest number with the digits. Now consider this. Suppose I make a number like this. See, because the largest digit has come to the forefront, then the second largest, then the third largest, etc., etc. This will become the largest number. I hope you understand that. But then had I written it in the opposite fashion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, this would definitely have become the smallest number with distinct digits, whose digits add up to 45. Now look up in the options and find out which option shows this number. And you can see number B shows that. Okay? Oh no, not number B, 6, 7, 8, and number C shows that. My apologies. So, so this not B, but C shows that. So I Could not see that this was an 8 and a 6 after that. I hope you can understand now. This sum was clear. Let's go on to the next. In a class of 100 students, there are 30 students who neither like romantic movies nor comedy movies. The number of students who like romantic movies is twice the number of students who like comedy movies. And the third point, the number of students who like both romantic movies and comedy movies is 20. How many students in the class like romantic movies? How would we do this problem? Take around 30 to 45 seconds to solve this. Okay. These type of sums can be most easily solved by a simple Venn diagram. That's the most easier way to solve these rather than using set theory knowledge. Now you see a Venn diagram, all of you are familiar with this. Studying engineering, you are quite familiar with it. So this is the universal set, total 100 students they have seen. Say suppose this is the Venn having, these are say romantic movies. Let us mark that as Rm. And let this Venn be having comedy movies. Obviously, there is an interference in between them. So they have said there are 30 students who like neither romantic nor comedy movies. So automatically this part must be 30. It has been said the number of students who like both romantic movies and comedy movies is 20. So this part must be 20. Now from this, we have to find how many students in the class like romantic movies. So let us suppose the number of students who like only romantic movies be A and the number of students who like only comedy movies be B. Let us just take it. So as per point number 2, they have said the number of students who like romantic movies, that is A plus 20, right, is twice the number of students who like comedy movies. The number of students who like comedy movies is B plus 20. So this must be the fact. So from this we can say now that A minus 2B is equal to how much? 40 minus 20, that is 20. So this is one equation. And you must also understand that all these things, 30, 20, A, B, the summation is equal to 100. So we can say now that A plus B plus 20 plus 30 is equal to 100. That is A plus B is equal to 50. So that must be the second equation. Now we can jolly well go ahead and solve these two equations. How do we solve these two equations? See, simply you subtract these two, A cancels off, and what will happen? See, minus 3B becomes equal to minus 30. That is, B becomes equal to 10. So this becomes equal to 10. And if that becomes equal to 10, then A will be becoming equal to 40. A will be becoming equal to 40. So this is 40. So they have asked you how many students in the class like romantic movies. So 40 plus 20. 40 plus 20. That is 60 students will be there in the class who will be liking romantic movies. Best done in this way. Okay, makes the sums a lot easier to. Hope that is done. Let's go to the next one. Now this is absolutely a reasoning figure. How many rectangles are present in the given figure? Take 20 seconds to unravel it. It's pretty simple. Okay, let us not lose too much sweat over sums like these because these are really simple ones. You just need to keep your cool a bit. So the figure more or less looks like this. Something like this. So first of all, consider all the individual ones. You see, The squares are also rectangles. I mean, assume this looks more like a rhombus, but assume these to be rectangles. So let us not forget that a square is also a rectangle. So one can say that this is one rectangle, this is the second, this is the third, this is the fourth. So that is one set. Okay. Now I can also think it in like this fashion, like that. Like, what happened? Oh, so I wrote 2 blue. So okay, let me abandon that and write it here. I hope it's not too small for you. But then I can also think that, see, this is one rectangle and maybe this one is another rectangle. So 2 more added, 5 and say 6. Likewise, I could have thought in the other direction. I could have also thought of it like this, that okay, this time this is one of the rectangles and this is the other rectangle. So say suppose 7 and 8. Okay. Now this whole thing would be also another rectangle, right? This whole thing would be a rectangle also. So that is number 9. And finally, the master of them all, this whole stuff is also another rectangle. So that is 10. So there are 10 rectangles overall. When faced with problems like this, don't lose your cool. Be systematic. It will always work out. Okay? Always remember that you cannot afford to lose that mark in general ability. Okay? So that's it. I'm sure this is a very simple one. Let's go on to this. So come on, let's do this. Forest land is a planet inhabited by different kind of creatures. Among other creatures, it is populated by animals, all of whom are ferocious. There are also creatures that have claws and some that do not. All creatures that have claws are ferocious. Based only on the information provided above, which of the following options can be logically inferred? Inferred means concluded with certainty. And the 4 options as are there in front of you. So take 15 seconds to work it out. Okay. Now, when faced with this, look carefully at what is said. Among other creatures, the forest land rather, is populated by animals, all of whom are ferocious. So all the animals are ferocious. This much is informed. Then all creatures that have claws are ferocious. So all of them that have claws are ferocious. And it has also been said that all animals are ferocious. Okay. So moral of the story is that every creature that has a claw definitely must be an animal, right? Because ferocious is the common criteria. Here the ferocious are animals, here the ferocious are claws. So I will say that number A is the one that follows with certainty. The others maybe, may not be. Check out. All creatures with claws are animals is a certainty. It has to be. Some creatures with claws are non-ferocious. Well, nowhere it has been written. Maybe, may not be. Some non-ferocious creatures have claws. Well, this is absolutely wrong because it has been said all creatures that have claws are ferocious. So maybe the opposite can happen, but there is nothing written on that purpose. And the last one, some ferocious creatures are creatures with claws. That's once again opposite sense of the previous one. So only the first one follows. Let's go to the next. I have nothing to say. Which one of the following options represents the given graph? The rest is in front of you. This is 2 to the power minus mod of x, as I can make out. This is 2 to the power minus x. This is 2 to the power minus of mod x. So these are the same. And this is 2 to the power minus x. So these two are also the same. Yes. Okay. This is a very simple one. I mean, especially for you all, it's very simple. But then see, suppose this is the x and y axis. This is the positive side of the y axis. Now suppose there is a graph like this. And the same on the negative side. On the negative side, suppose there is this graph goes on like this. So we can say that it is more or less a sort of a mirror image, right? Now this can only be possible when this is an even function. I'm sure you are aware about that. This is of course based more on common mathematics than anything else. But this is only possible when this is an even function. Because in an even function, the graph is symmetrical on both sides of the positive part of the y-axis. Now, let us try to identify out of these four, which of them can be an even function. So let us try this one. Now we will say here, how can this be an even function? If I say f of minus x, an even function means f of x is equal to f of minus x. If I wrote here f of minus x, it would be minus x to the power minus of minus x, which is entirely different from this. Okay, so this can't be an even function. Let us take this one. So this would be minus x, I mean f of minus x I'm taking. This is f of x already given, so I'm taking f of minus x. So that would be minus x into 2 to the power minus of minus x mod, which is alright, but then this minus changes the whole affair. So they are not similar. Let us take this one. Okay, a minus here has no change because mod of minus x will still be mod of x. But then the story changes here, right? It comes to the power x, so they are not similar. So this is also not an even function. Let us try this one. Oh, x square. So minus x whole square is still x square. And 2 to the power minus of x is still minus of mod of x. I will say, aha, this is the even function. And hence I will take option number A. I hope this is clear. Let's go on to the next one. Which one of the following options can be inferred from the given passage alone? When I was a kid, I was partial to stories about other worlds and interplanetary travel. I used to imagine that I could just gaze off into space and be whisked to another planet. This is an excerpt from the book The Truth About Stories by T. King. So the options are given. Okay, which of the following options can be inferred from the given passage alone? They are in front of you. Take a few seconds to decipher which one would be appealing to you the most. Okay, let's go ahead and read the options. It is a child's description of what he or she likes. Well, I would say, how can this be a description of what he or she likes? There has been no comment made about the likes of that child, like or dislike of that child. The child is stating a fact. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. It is an adult's memory of what he or she liked as a child. I will say yes. The child has grown up. That's why it is said when I was a kid. So that now he's an adult. He or she is an adult. I was partial to stories means I used to have an affinity or a likeness for stories about other worlds and interplanetary travel and used to imagine this sort of stuff. You generally imagine these things which you like. Okay, so B is a very good one. okay, can be inferred. Let us also study the rest. The child in the passage read stories about interplanetary travel only in parts. I will say that this is absolutely irrelevant, because nowhere it has been said that he or she learnt about interplanetary travel only in parts, that too. So C is absolutely out. Last one, it teaches us that stories are good for children. Well, stories are good for children or bad for children. No comment has been made on that. So how can I say so? So considering all the four options, it is clearly understood that number B is the most feasible conclusion that can be drawn. So in the exam, I would have picked number B, right? Let's go to the next. See, this one is also to be done. This is ECE. Please let us try. This is the last one of that. I by mistake overlapped it. 100 centimeter into 32 centimeter rectangular sheet is folded 5 times. This is paper folding. Each time the sheet is folded, the long edge aligns with its opposite side. Eventually, the folded sheet is a rectangle of dimensions 100 centimeter into 1 centimeter. Okay. So they have asked the total number of creases visible when the sheet is unfolded. Try to think it out. This is the paper cutting things. Let us not forget that the original sheet is 100 into 32. Say suppose this is 100. Say suppose this is 32. After doing all the foldings, what you arrive at is 100 into 1. This remains as it is. This becomes 1. Okay. So this has to be understood. Come on, quickly do it. See, let me tell you how these happen. Paper folding might be okay for mechanical engineers, but for ECEs and others, they might not be exactly what they are, study exactly. But chalo, let us see, think it mathematically. First of all, we must understand that the sheet is being folded along this. The first folding will be done here. Then it becomes something like this. Then the second folding will be done here. Then it would become something like this, and then the third one will be done here, and so on and so forth, until it arrives at this final thing after 5 times. So what would be my way of thinking at this? I'll say, okay, if I fold it once, how many creases will appear? I'll say, okay, 2 to the power 0 creases will appear, that is 1 crease will appear. I am folding it once. Okay, now I am folding it the second time. How many creases will appear? Now I can think now that the number of creases that will appear is 2. See, just imagine this being double stuffed. 2 plus 1, 3 total. Now the third time, what will be the creases that will appear? 2 to the power 2, right? So 4. The fourth time, simple, 2 to the power 3, 8. Now it is difficult to imagine, but you could have done your imagination within the first 2. And the fifth, 2 to the power 4, that is 16. So what is the total number of creases that will appear? Add these up. 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16. 1 plus 2 is 3. 4, 7. 7 plus 8, 15. 15 plus 16 is 31. So you will say 38. Where is 31? 8 though. Here is 31. So you are going to say 31 is going to be the answer. Out of 1,000 individuals in a town, 100 unidentified individuals are COVID positive. Unidentified individuals. Due to lack of adequate COVID testing kits, the health authorities of the town devised a strategy to identify these COVID positive individuals. The strategy is to, number one, collect saliva samples from all 1,000 individuals and randomly group them into sets of 5. Number two, mix the samples within each set and test the mixed sample for COVID. Number three, if the test done in 2 gives a negative result, then declare all the 5 individuals to be COVID negative. Next, number 4, if the test done in 2 gives a positive results, then all the 5 individuals are separately tested for COVID. So this was the strategy that was developed. Given this strategy, no more than dash, fill in the blank, testing kits will be required to identify all the 100 COVID positive individuals, irrespective of how they are grouped. Fill in that blank with the options. Give it a try. This is by far the best one out of this whole set. Give it a bit of a try. Take 1 minute. Okay, come on, let us do it together. There are 1,000 individuals, 100 unidentified individuals are positive. So they have said they would like to randomly group them into sets of 5. So how many groups are made? The number of groups would be 1,000 divided by 5. That is 200 groups. I hope all of you will appreciate that. Now, what can be the worst scenario to happen? That in 200 groups, in all the groups, there is one COVID positive patient. One COVID positive patient in each group. This is the worst case scenario. Right. Nothing can be more worse than this. In that way, how many groups will have COVID positive? 100 groups, because there are only 100 COVID positive patients. 100 groups will have one positive case each, and the other 100 groups will be clean groups, right? Means they will have nothing. Now, for these 100 groups, how many kits will you require for testing? Because they will mix the samples of all the 5 and test them in as if that is one sample. So you will require 100 kits. For these 100 groups, you will require 100 kits. And your job will be done. Because you know that, we already know that they do not have a COVID positive person. Now for these 100 groups, also you will require 100 kits. These 100 kits are there, and for every kit, the result is COVID positive. So now every 5 of those groups, everybody has to be tested separately. So now 5 into 100 kits will be required additionally. I hope you understand. That is equal to 500 kits will be additionally required, because you'll have to identify which person is COVID positive. So in total, this will give you, but this will require 600 kits, and this will require 100 kits. So even if the worst scenario were to prevail, you could do everything within 700 kits, and no more than 700 testing kits would be required to identify all the 100 COVID positive patients, irrespective of how they are grouped. I hope this is understood. And with that, we end our ECE set.